Just get him to ask me that question.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another horror review. I'm joined once again by Dale as we continue down the filmography path of Sir Peter Jackson. Today we're discussing Forgotten Silver, a mockumentary based on the fictional life of Colin McKenzie, a filmmaker credited for making the earliest discoveries in film history. The film was made originally for TV release, of no budget information, but then was later featured on various film festivals. So this is the next one on the list. We are back again, and
I know.
this is an interesting one.
It is. It's action-packed, isn't it? The
Yeah.
whole way through.
Now, we could be forgiven for saying that this isn't horror, but there's wee bits in there, so we can't completely write it off because he can't help being himself. There's little smatterings in there that I think we'll get to as we go along.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, what do you think of it?
Oh, wow. The first time I watched it, I thought it was absolutely bonkers. I just couldn't get my head around it, so I had to watch it a couple of times because there's so much to unpack. He's just jammed so much into the film. It was different than his previous ones. So yeah.
Oh, there's Chris on enjoying the series so far. Excellent.
Chris.
Good to have you on board, buddy. And we're going down the Tremors rabbit hole as well. So there's another wee series is going to get covered. Yeah. And my question was, who's this made for?
Like New Zealand, I think.
Yeah, definitely New Zealand. Okay, it's definitely an in-house. It's an in-house joke for New Zealanders. I could get the same if it was made Northern Ireland. You know, as if it was actually somebody from this wee random town made everything and nobody knew about it. I kind of get that comedy. But I think you have to be a film nerd.
Yes.
I don't think this is a normie film. I don't think this is a film for just general audience. General audience to just go, huh?
Yeah, there was a lot of that in there, a lot of technical jargon that absolutely went woof over my head. It's definitely one for film nerds.
Yeah,
I think they'd appreciate the telling of it. I think, yeah,
it's definitely a niche production. It's you have to be into filmmaking. You have to be really into film to sort of get the jokes and what he's actually doing with this, because you can tell he's having a blast. He's like, somebody's giving me money to make this. I'm having the best time of my life.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It was different in so many different ways than his original ones. Yeah, like there were, like you said, a couple of horror scenes in there, but basically it's just for film nerds and New Zealanders, and we also get to see his influential connections with some certain people.
Yeah, some not so good, but we'll talk about that later. It's like, uh-oh.
Forgot to edit that one out.
Yeah, it's just but we'll get to see the iconic Peter Jackson. Like, this is how he dresses from here to like now.
Yeah.
It's kind of, we've seen various iterations of the way he looks in the movies and the documentaries. Like, he's all over the show, but this is the Peter Jackson look for the first time.
Except now he's got grey hair. Other than that, he looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
Minus the glasses too. I think he's got contacts now.
And he lost the received pronunciation accent. He's a bit more into his own pattern now. Where if you see him in the first couple of documentaries, he's like proper like BBC received pronunciation, and he's kind of dropped this for this, and you get a bit more of the sort of homely, down to earth, where you see it in his acting, so he's not stuck up. But this, you get to see him a bit more
a very Kiwiana flavour to his accent, and he's just so relaxed in this one. I think he really thoroughly enjoyed himself making this one.
Yeah, I think he just went, "What, you're giving me money to do this? Yes,
Yeah.
please." I'm gonna have fun. You can have fun too if you want, but I'm just here to enjoy myself because I just love being behind a camera and putting things together. Oh my god, the amount of work! Like, this is supposed to be a mockumentary. It's supposed to be dry as anything, and they sort of have that, but the music gives it away. Like, if you didn't know this was made up, if you're watching it as if it was real, some of the beats, some of the music that he plays throughout the narrator, you're like, something, you know what I mean? It just messes with your head a bit.
Yes, it does, eh? Yeah, gold.
And by the way, Benjamin's told us off. We're not allowed to talk anymore before we hit live because we kind of go on like a 15-20 minute ramble about each one of these movies.
Yeah, then you guys miss it all, off camera.
Yeah, we'll sort of bring it back, but still, that's what you do when you love doing this sort of stuff. It's not a job.
No, not at all. No.
You know what I mean? That's why it's fun hilarious. To do these things.
It is fun. It's particularly Sir Peter Jackson, because he's just gold, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Really.
Legend.
Yeah.
And it starts off innocently enough. Like, it's believable. Like, you see him outside his neighbour's house, and he's busy Colin's wife, current day wife.
Yeah. Hannah. Yeah.
And you see him get into the shed, and that's what he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna discover this," and interpose with the photographs, and then they start telling the story of Colin McKenzie and how they found these reels, and it's all very plausible.
Believable. Yeah, it's really believable, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It grabs you as oh wow, I'm just about to watch a documentary. Wow, that's unusual.
Until you get to the steam-powered camera. And then you're like, hang on a minute.
Yeah. I don't remember that in our history.
So he starts off with a bicycle and then invents the first tracking shot, and then it just goes. I think he's had to rein himself in so much for this.
Yeah.
Because you can just see those crazy elements getting ready to burst onto the screen, and somebody's having no, Peter, not yet. I can just picture somebody saying, "Not yet. Wait, we're going to do it in a minute. Leave it."
Oh, absolutely. Hey, when he crashes into the gorse bush, it's like, oh my goodness.
So the premise of the story is that he finds, it was one of his neighbors, and she was asking him to check out some stuff in her shed that maybe give away to charity or the archivists. So basically old reels sold for the archives. Because he's into film, people know he's into film, and they're like, well, could you take these down to the archivists, and people might be useful for still shots or a bit of history. And even the guy they have in the museums itself, it's like so close. Yeah, we get these sort of videos all the time, and it's great for period pieces and to see the style of dress and stuff, and you're like, yep, all plausible.
Absolutely, eh? Yep, 100%. Finding a little gem like that in the shed. Oh my goodness.
But there's
hundreds of tins. So I get now the forgotten silver. I was wondering, oh, I see.
Yeah, the silver screen, the silver tins.
The silver tins, yeah.
Wasn't it silver nitrate wasn't that what film was made out of?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, I mean, I meant to look it up. Honestly, this is a nerd fest.
This is a film, yeah.
For nerds. If you're a filmmaking nerd, you're gonna love us. Like, you'll geek away to your heart's content. That's who this is aimed at.
Yeah, absolutely. I highly recommend this one for you film nerds out there. Yep. I know a few of them.
Oh yeah, you can. But this is what one of the things about the horror genre I love is, I don't get it as much anymore, but the effects team, the effects team are always interviewed more than the cast.
Yeah, right.
And that's what got you involved with a horror movie, where now the basically it's all CGI, so they forget about the effects team.
Yeah.
And it's always the director now and the actors, and they're not necessarily the most interesting people
No.
to speak to. The reason Jackson's so fascinating is because he is primarily an effects guy. He just happens to go, well, if we're going to make a movie, I might as well get behind the camera myself, save money. That was his kind of thing about it.
Yeah.
But he comes from an effects background, and then you can tell his hand has been in it when he starts building stuff. And we've discussed this so far. What, 4 movies now? This is the 5th movie in.
This is the 5th, yeah. Wow. Amazing, eh?
Scary. It just seemed like an off-the-cuff idea.
Just bizarre. Really bizarre.
So he's that's what makes him a slightly different, cut from a different cloth, is he's a hands-on. He's primarily effects, and that's his passion. And
you see it,
even in this, oh my God, as this thing just ramps up
over and over again, right? It just keeps giving. Wow.
But yeah, he starts off with cameras back then. This is supposed to be set in the Colin McKenzie's life was the late 1800s, early 1900s. So effectively, he lived up until just after the First World War.
Yeah.
So we're seeing that kind of period piece, but cameras then are hand cranked.
Yeah, right.
And that's, basically they're just cameras, photograph stills.
Yep.
Which
and then he got sick of that, didn't he?
Yeah. And that was fine. The bicycle actually made sense.
Yeah, I actually thought that was a real thing. That didn't give it away that it was a mockumentary. That didn't. That was quite plausible. They made it quite realistic because then they had all the other, they had shots of other cameras in the background. So, it did look authentic.
Yeah. So I think he's made this and he's plunked it in a museum.
Possibly. Absolutely.
Not the penny farthing, but he's taken like one of the classic bikes of that same design, and he's stuck this. He's went so far as to make it look like antique wood and legit. Built. And then he's went to the museum and he's went, can I just set this here and pretend it's part of the part of the thing?
You can tell, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the thought, but that once again, the level of detail to do that
is amazing. Yeah, absolutely. You don't see that. You don't see that nowadays. You really don't. People are just, yeah.
But what does that cost in the scheme of things? To speak to a museum, curator, go, look, here's what I'm doing for film. Can we just put this fake piece in here, just to take a few shots, maybe give a donation to the museum or something, or give it a mention, have the patrons come in, a wee bit of networking, bit of imagination. Sorry, I've got
absolutely.
Yeah, that's all it takes, but people don't seem to have that today.
No.
So sad.
It is.
It's partly going back through this makes me sad for today's filmmaking, because I see the apathy and the laziness.
Yeah.
And how it is just a conveyor belt.
It is.
And when you see someone like Sir Peter and he's just genuine a love of what he does, and it's not an ego thing, it's a genuine love of making things. He's a hobbyist that just happened to make money from it, make it into his job, but he's essentially a hobbyist.
Yeah.
And they're the most dedicated people.
Yep.
Because you want to get it right, because it's it's something you've labored on, and you tweak and you play and your new ideas, and you're always wanting to keep it fresh, and you're always networking with people because you want your thing to be self-sustainable so you can keep doing it. Yeah. I get the drive and the passion that makes him do these things. Yeah. And it's just so sad that we rarely see that anymore.
No, I know. It is. It really is. It's sad for filmmaking, and it's but at least we've got these little gems to remind us that it used to be great back in the day. you know, and now with CGI and green screens and fake actors, and oh my god,
nobody's actually acting;
era.
they're preaching now. It's horrible. It's just nobody's.
Yeah.
You can't escape today because nobody can think outside the news channels. You're like, nah, go to somewhere else. Go. That's the whole point of these things. I was imagining myself during this period. He took me back, and I didn't even expect that to happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding with these earlier ones is, oh my God, I'm just blown away. You know, I get to see landmarks, famous landmarks in New Zealand, and get to see them, you know, over in Pukerua Bay, which is just over the hill. And it's just like, oh, wow, these are real gold gems for New Zealanders to look back on. And oh God, I remember when they had trams and all that sort of stuff. And it's kind of really, really cool. It's cool. And we get to see somebody who's turned his life into just what he wanted to do, you know. He's successful, and yeah, it does take me back to those times, you know, 1995. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I was very young then, so it's like, wow, cool, yeah. But I think it also it just goes to show just how genius he is, really. I mean, God, some of the stuff that's in that movie is just mind-blowing, you know. I mean, it's a different one altogether, but then again, there's just some real good gems in there, eh?
Yeah, but we're not seeing... Here's the thing. We're not seeing repetition. We're seeing beats. We're seeing, like, he slipped some of his music in. Like, he couldn't stop, but it's only... Every movie we have done so far, everyone has been different and unique and had its own flavour and style. But you know it's a Peter Jackson production because he has certain little tricks, but it doesn't take over. He's not a meme. He's not a trope.
No.
And each one you take is a separate entity.
Absolutely. They're all completely different from each other. There's not one single one there's no repetition of. There are some themes that he's hooked into and he's constantly likes to use, like decapitation. That's one thing he likes to use, and he pulls it off really well and different in every single video that he's done with the decapitation scenes. Yeah.
I didn't see any Morris Minors in this one.
No.
I wonder if he purposely kept the Morris Minor out because he wanted people to think this was a serious documentary, and if there was a Morris Minor, it'd be like, cut you out.
Yep, absolutely.
Although, I'll not lie, when he went from the bike was plausible, but then when he hooked it up, when you saw it hooked up to a steam engine, you're like, nah, mate, nah, I've caught you out, nah.
Yeah, you got to be pissing us.
Yeah, that's it.
People believed it. Oh, crikey.
Is it because they still didn't fully understand? Like, I think because we know Peter Jackson, we know his sort of his style and that. Is it we're just looking for it? Do you think
I think possibly, yeah, we are looking for certain things, and then when it's not there, it's kind of like, oh, well, this is different, you know. So,
But when the camera was hooked up to the steam engine, I'm like, no, this is you ramping it up, and this is one of the scenes I think somebody's went, no, put it back from
wait till now,
no, put it back, no, too soon, you'll ruin it. You're getting excited because I can picture him just getting excited, going, we could do this, we could do that.
Yes, we could hook it up to an airplane or something really fake, or I don't know, a spacecraft or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That's what you just picture, you know, from what I've seen. That because I just picture being thinking exactly that, and then somebody here, probably his partner's on the shoulder, going, "No, not now. This is, remember, we're nice and slow. This is documentary." And yeah, okay. But then the hex.
Oh my god.
Okay, so well, the basically saying that he's invented the first motorized camera, he's invented the first tracking shot before anybody else did, and then that he made his own.
The first close
Yeah, that's not the later.
Yeah, that's later. Okay.
Later, yeah. And these are all the wee jokes that are starting to come in. I think When is it? Is it the halfway point you realize is a spoof? But it does throw some serious stuff in to make you come back down again.
I knew it was one, but I'll when we get to that part, I'll tell you when I knew.
Yeah, the steam engine powered camera was my first. Yeah, nah, mate, nah, you're pulling her leg.
Yep.
I can actually believe the eggs thing, right? So it made up the because they had it so deadpan, and and the formulas for making up film, because film, it's a chemical process. Like photographers will understand this.
Yep. Photosynthesis or whatever, or emulsion or
Yeah,
whatever.
so he made it out of egg whites and yam leaves, and a dozen eggs equated to, what was it, 30 seconds of film or 3 seconds?
Yeah, something
12,
ridiculous.
12 seconds, a dozen eggs
Yeah.
was like
A dozen eggs for 1 minute.
for 1
And
minute
then
of film,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then we get the heist of stealing 2,000 eggs. Like, where the hell do you find 2,000 eggs apart from like a factory, like
A farm.
like factory farm, supplying supermarkets, not just a like bog standard farmer where he lived out in the sticks. Like he's went to
Yeah. He's gone all over town and nicked them from farms, I think. Yeah, hilarious.
I the hell,
But it was so authentic, because then they went and put a news clipping in there, the news clipping, and it was like of 2,000 eggs stolen, and it's like, oh my
and it was done
goodness.
well, so you're actually believing that was a
real thing,
bit in the
right?
newspaper, which is funny later on when we talk about newspapers, but yeah, and then said his father broke up all his equipment, but his mother hid his camera. It's so,
Yeah.
and I'm sort of scratching my head because where'd he get all these details from? From his widow, who he only met in Spain briefly, because that's the only source really that this would have come from.
Yeah, basically, I just thought it was him telling his new wife, Hannah, his widower, whatever you call them, widow. I think it, yeah, because I got a little bit mixed up with that. I was like a little bit, well, how did she know all this information about him? Did he tell her everything? Because they were only together for not very long before
No.
So, yeah. So I was a bit lost as to where that information came from. So if you could enlighten me, that would be great.
No,
I don't know.
that's where I'm kind of, because though throwing hints at people have heard the name, so it wasn't like he was a complete. It wasn't like it was a complete mystery. He keeps throwing in the hints. Yeah, we heard the name. We heard the name.
Yes.
And that, so they were giving you ratification of his existence, that he existed in the film world in New Zealand, and he was actually known. And then we found out that he'd done a series of. So it wasn't as if he was completely
non-existent.
non-existent and just found under a cave. So that was clever. So that was feeding me that he did have interactions. There was history there.
Oh God, it was so authentic, wasn't it?
Yeah,
just the level of detail that we were getting about this dude, Colin. Yeah, it was just amazing.
The fact that there was enough there to make you think, okay, there were references. If they hadn't have included those people saying, oh yeah, I'd heard the name, but not for many years and this, that, and the other, and you're like, okay, right, just feeding you little hints.
Yeah, the elusive filmmaker. Yeah, that people have heard about that, but he's disappeared, and yeah, he's gone AWOL for 3 years, and true. Yeah.
The next bit that I'm just like, yeah, mate, you're pulling my leg, was the whole thing with Richard Pierce.
Oh.
So after him, this is still early on, yeah. So how did those two get to know each other again? It was after the stealing of the eggs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he was.
They were both farmers in the same region.
That's
That's how they knew each other. So small community, everybody knows everybody.
And then because he pulled the heist, that's how Richard Pierce came involved.
Yep.
Richard Pierce, who was also trying to learn how to fly.
And he's a real dude. He's real. You know, it was, God. I got suckered in with that one. I had to Google it.
Yeah, I was until the newspaper in the back pocket. And then the fact that he prevented him becoming the first aeronaut because he was in the way. I'm like, yeah, nah, you're taking the mic now. That's a joke.
Yeah, but it did get me having a look to see what happened there, because I have heard about Richard Pierce, and he actually does state, frankly, that he did not get it off the ground, and he did not do it before the Wright brothers.
And Colin McKenzie did not film it.
No, absolutely. Colin McKenzie was not there filming it, and nobody was there. He didn't basically get it off the ground. But the funny thing is that we over here, we think we designed the first plane before the Wright brothers. People still believe that. Yep.
That's if you're dripping off truth, that's the whole thing about telling stories and fabrications. You have to have the grain of truth. That's why stereotypes are a thing. That's why tropes are a thing. They're based on a form of reality. Now, people today just don't want to admit that for whatever reason, that you have to have that grounding in reality to tell a lie, or else people don't latch onto it. So you need those little tidbits.
Yeah.
The fact that he thought this all out, okay, and then done it linear, because could anybody do this today?
I know, right?
People can't even tell a straightforward story today.
No, it's all ambiguous, and we all have to use our interpretations and, interpret ourselves and perceive things the way we want to perceive it. And it's just like, no, here's Peter Jackson just showing you what he wants you to do, what he wants you to believe, and you believe it. People did.
I'll not lie, like, until it goes completely bonkers with the whole Salome and then, that production, that's where he's finally out of the traps, you know what I mean? Because he's in the traps and he's got the bit between his teeth and he's like, just wanting to let rip. And he knows if he does it too early, people aren't...
It's going to fall apart.
It's going to fall apart.
Yep.
It must have killed him to do it at this pace.
I'd say so.
Like, he would have been giggling like a schoolgirl behind every take.
I just could imagine it, right? Because oh my goodness, he would have been in his late 20s, 30s or something. I'm not sure, but oh my God, he somebody reeled him in. Somebody was like, no, come on, not yet. Hold those reins. Don't do it just yet.
Because this is so plausible and it's so deadpan. And that just the whole thing, you're like, yeah, this could actually happen, because it's so ridiculous that it's believable. It's like, when Roald Dahl talks and has a scene in Matilda where Trenchbill's kicking kids out the window, and the fact is that it's so ridiculous that if the kids went home and told their parents, they wouldn't believe them because it's so out there. It's actually happening. That's the approach he's taken, that these circumstances are so bonkers that they must have happened. And he's dripped enough like authenticity. And it's keeping the deadpan thing. Like, that's... I've tried it. I've tried doing skits with friends and stuff and that, and I've broke. Like, I've tried keeping the whole deadpan face, and there's one Adam and Cameron I did, and I break at the end of the shock, because I was trying to keep a straight face, and then eventually I just lost it.
Yeah, I could just imagine Peter Jackson cracking up the whole way through this, and his buddies, they're all cracking up. Yeah, because
this is them. They're just getting paid money to play a big joke and have fun doing it, but still, there's a seriousness about this again.
Yeah, that's right.
When he comes to actually putting stuff in film. He's like, I'm taking this seriously. This will be done right.
Yep.
And that's another reason why you buy into it, because if he had half-arsed it, and didn't put his level of detail in, it wouldn't have worked.
No, it wouldn't. It would have flopped. Like,
even as a spoof.
Pretty good reviews too. So
it's a bloody good. If it was a real documentary, it's bloody good.
Oh, I know, right? I mean, it would have been a document. I mean, what's this? Yeah, I'm just blown away by his level of, I don't know, just the story arcs. He's just got this fictional guy who's just got all this stuff going on in his life, and he just managed to, I don't know, take us to Spain and Tahiti, and oh my goodness.
This is Forrest Gump before Forrest Gump.
Yeah, this is Blair Witch Project found footage before.
Yeah, before that, and it's Forrest Gump telling a fictional story using, but even that, you didn't buy into it.
No,
when you watch Forrest Gump, you're like, yeah, okay, that's clever. This, you're bloody bad into it. You're like, if I hadn't been told this was a mockumentary, I'd be going and then looking up things.
Well, that's what I ended up doing, right?
Yeah.
Because it was just like...
Well, that's why I was looking up silver nitrate and the stuff they were putting in, making for the canisters and that, and then I remember about them degrading and stuff, and...
Yep.
I remember all that kind of stuff, because I have been interested in filmmaking, the whole process behind it. And he's put that love of, his hobby, he's put on this. And where was I going with this? Yeah, this is definitely the first of this style.
It is, right? That's what I mean, he's just so ahead of his time in all his movies. Just, oh, gosh.
And you can see things coming out, even like Forrest Gump, which was iconic at its time, but it's just a copy of this.
Right.
And it's a pale imitation for 3 times the budget.
Yeah, right.
Probably, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And Forrest Gump was how long? Oh my goodness.
Like 3 hours long. This is done in like 54 minutes. Bosh.
Exactly, right.
And delivers the punchline, and you feel like you're watching 2 hours worth of...
Absolutely. Every second is down, millisecond or whatever is down to microsecond. Just everything's just placed perfectly to make it so believable. Yes.
The thing that gave it away when he sort of tells on himself later on, when he talks about actually trying to get sound in the picture. But when we see the tracking shot, there was the sound of the chickens and stuff, and you're like, that wouldn't have been the case. So he's kind of told on himself a wee bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
But I didn't get the sort of joke, because I grew up with Hong Kong cinema. Like, I grew up with Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung. Loved all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So movies in Chinese wouldn't bother me.
Right.
And if it's the first time hearing sound, like old moving pictures, yourself, because he's done it with... I mean, you see the captions, it's all done with expression, so... Is that a New Zealand thing?
No, he was...
I know Americans couldn't cope with it. I know Americans would freak out if it's not in American. But I don't reckon we have the same attitude towards movies in foreign languages as a culture.
I think possibly back then there might have been a little bit of tension between... I'm not. I don't know if he was mocking Asians. Really,
no,
I don't.
He was mocking people. He wasn't mocking Asians. No, it wasn't that. It definitely was not that. He was mocking people's attitude towards it not being in English and not being able to understand it.
See, that's what I got confused about.
He wasn't. No, it wasn't that. It was, and that's what I'm saying. Is that more? Was that more geared as in making fun of the American audience as opposed to the New Zealand audience?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, And
Because he got a few Americans on as narrators, as
yes, he did.
which we'll talk about one of them in particular. But
Yeah.
was this aimed at them, a dig at them about not watching movies if it's not in their own language?
Right.
It was not aimed at Chinese people that want, I mean, it was not, I didn't get that at all. That wasn't what it was about. It was the fact that people can't watch movies. They're so arrogant that, there's people freak out over subtitles.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, Americans in particular lose the plot. I mean, they get proper angry and storm out and stuff. You're like, really, mate?
Yeah. So they have to watch everything dubbed, right? The subtitles were in French, which is where the first the first sound picture came from, France, Paris. So I think he was mocking a little bit of that. I think he was mocking a little bit of the Americans because of the subtitle issue. And he explicitly said about the narrator said about what was it? That Peter that Colin was really upset about not using subtitles. He should have used subtitles. So it was definitely mocking the Americans. But possibly during that era as well, we've got to remember that Bruce Lee movies were dubbed over in English. So that was a mockery against that as well, because I don't know if you, well, of course
we got both. That's what I mean. It's a cultural thing. Like we got both.
We didn't. We just got the complete dubbed over versions where the mouth is not matching up with the words.
You see,
and that was a huge thing over here about what. It was actually a huge thing over here at the time. So I don't know what it was over there with you guys, but over here it was mocked.
Yeah, it was funny. It became a trope, and some of the, the all that stuff. That became a. But at the time, I mean, as a kid, I loved it. But because of Hong Kong, we had direct line of sight because people from Hong Kong, they came and stayed in our boarding schools and stuff, and there was always back and forward. It was easier to go to flipping Hong Kong than it was anywhere else at that, during the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
Because don't forget, Hong Kong was, it was 100-year, people don't understand, but Hong Kong wasn't actually a British colony. It was leased from China. It was on a 100-year lease, which ran out in 1999, and then the Chinese didn't renew it.
That's right.
So, that's people, people, the wheeling and dealing goes on and stuff, and just the actual real stories as opposed to the colonization. It's like, nah, that's that was a business deal, and it actually worked out because look at Hong Kong now, they're crying, the poor folks. But there was traffic, back and forth. In fact, I tell you how bad it was. Nobody else in the world would come near Northern Ireland except the Chinese, who have been with us from like year dot through all the crap. And that's why Chinese folk have always had they're not seen as different, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, you came here when no one else would. Fair play to you. And Chinese people run away with broad Belfast accents and stuff. It's fantastic. And then turn around and speak Mandarin. If you go to a Chinese supermarket in Belfast, they'll speak to you in broad Belfast accent and then turn to one of their mates and speak in Mandarin and just flip like that. And you're like, fair play to you,
Yeah.
And there's always that respect
They've
because...
been here forever as well. They've been here forever. Yeah. They were here when we were gold mining, in the gold rush era, probably the whalers. I mean, they're just a part of New Zealand. They're just New Zealanders, they grew up here and most of them were born here, So
that's what I mean. You're talking third, fourth, fifth generation, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, so... there was a bit of a mock there.
Yeah, but it wasn't that. I think that's the point.
It wasn't aimed at. Yeah.
No, it was aimed at people's attitudes.
Yes.
But I don't think it was our attitudes. I think I was one for the Americans because obviously it was marketed over there.
Oh yeah.
A little sly dig, and you're like,
yes.
Yeah, that was only about scratch my head. I'm like, nah, it's not us, and I don't think it's you guys because you have similar outlook in life as we do. So yeah, I thought it was good to clarify.
Yeah, no, you did right.
God, what was it? Yeah, he then went to experiment with color.
Oh yes, in Tahiti.
In Tahiti.
Typical you. You just zone in on these things that
Gotta-
I miss.
gotta.
I missed it the first time around. I was like,
How do you miss not just one, but like 4 sets of glorious boots, and they weren't even small. Like, and that's the first nudity actually he's using in one of these movies.
yeah, actually it is. Yeah, I wonder if it was his idea or not. But you know, over in those countries, they walk around. You know, back in those days, back in the turn of the century or whatever, back then, you know, walking around just grass skirts on, and that was about it. You know, that's just what Taiwanese people did in the island.
The fact that he just became a whole joke, and then of course, if you were there with a camera, people would be going, "Coo."
I know, isn't that just brilliant? It's just she comes into the frame, and then he tries to move the frame away, and then there's oh my god, there's more boobies,
and she follows him.
Yeah, I know, it's brilliant.
And then regretfully he runs out as his precious film runs out.
Yeah,
I've just got this scene in my head of him just getting annoyed because he's so focused. Colin McKenzie being so annoyed about get out of my way, where that in itself is just brilliant.
Oh, I know. And then he got in trouble.
And that was that joke he threw in there of so when he comes back, he completely oblivious. But we know people like that. We know people who are so focused on what they're doing and they're trying to either make something or create. You could have the house burning down around them and they wouldn't notice.
No, I know, right? Yeah.
So by using that, they're saying how, you know, dedicated he is and how much he wants focused. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I don't want boobies in my. I don't care about those. I just
it helps us channel because it maintains our 30% KPIs. So you know.
Oh yes.
Because that's that's important.
So that's added to it. Yep.
Yep, that's part of it. You know, we've got to keep balance.
Absolutely.
Can't disrespect the boobies. Can't leave them out. You know, just can't stop reviewing movies with boobies in them because that's an integral part of horror. So there's a horror trope. We'll get boobies. So there you go. There's a horror trope.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Some gratuitous nudity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mighty fine, I must say.
Give me smell for a minute. I'm an old man. I think it makes me happy.
But the trouble he gets into with that. Oh,
so he just goes completely oblivious. That's what I mean. And he carries the joke on. The fact he's completely oblivious. Goes shows it to all these boards, and he's so elated about the fact that he's managed to create color film from these. I can't remember the plant, but it was the plant that only exists in Tahiti.
The berry,
yeah, the berries, yeah. And of course, one berry produces all the colors.
Yeah. Wow, magical, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, technically, it should all be red.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, it did have a pink tinge to it.
So it's still that level of detail. If I had come out in Technicolor, you would have like no. But the fact that it came out with that pink tinge, you're like, God, he's even at that level of detail. Going,
real? Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah,
I just got a bit excited there. Yeah, that was just his level of detail just amazes me. It really does. He's just fantastic.
That's what sucks you in. If this had been anyone else, that would have been just pure color, and he wouldn't have thought about it, and you would, you'd have lost yourself. Even the ridiculous stuff, he's managed to rein in so much that it's believable.
Oh yeah.
And he never said whether the steam-powered camera worked, just that he tried it.
Yeah, he tried it. But, I mean, so it took 4.5 months to make 22 seconds of colour in that video. That's according to the plot.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
And this is
4.5
all very
months.
specific.
Exactly, right?
So that's
Very
how you
specific.
that's how you explain, you know, such short pieces and that, and how he's able to interpose it in. The fact that all this stuff only equates to so much film, and you're like, that makes sense. Because like I said, grew up in Hong Kong cinema. Jackie Chan, still an absolute legend. Like he doesn't just work in one movie, and then he works in like 3 movies at once. And even before one movie's finished, he's already getting started. Like he just does not stop. The man's a lunatic. But it was the scene in Police Story 2 where he's jumping from the mall under the lights.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, because of film, and there was 100 cameras all rolling at the same time to get from every angle, he had like, if you don't jump now, we've lost it. And I remember that if he hadn't have jumped and done that scene, that was it, because the film had run out. That's all they had, 100 cameras worth. You know what I mean? That was their budget to do that stunt.
Didn't he hurt himself in that one?
Well, he's hurt himself in loads of movies. For sick.
Yeah. He's crazy, isn't he, that dude?
Yeah,
he's
but
just
he also
amazing.
talks about, you know what I mean? He's a similar person to Sir Peter. I'd put him in, like, they're the sort of top tier in the same bracket in terms of passion.
Yep.
But yeah, I learned a lot about filmmaking from Jackie Chan.
Wow.
And his behind the scenes and his interviews, because he's explaining that, we had to do this. This is 35mm film. This is, 28mm film. This is what we had to use. This is the way it looked. Had to do it a certain way. If we didn't do it, the film actually ran, you know what I mean? And if you ran out of budget for film, you didn't make any more movie. That was it. That was a major budgetary constraint, was the actual amount of film you had to use in the project.
Wow.
And this is all drip fed in this documentary. And I didn't realize how much of a film nerd I was myself.
No, that's good to know, right?
I learned something about myself watching this. I'm like, I'm into this crap. I'm like nodding my head and going, oh yeah, this is brilliant. And nodding my head as they're talking about the mixes and that. And I'm like, I've always wanted to do that.
The chemicals and just amazing. Yeah.
Getting just the right mixes and the binding agents, and you're like,
so nerd.
I'm a nerd. I don't care. I flip's sake. You don't do that stuff without being a nerd, for flip's sake.
So am I a little bit too.
But that's the fun. But yeah, the whole thing of getting the smut charges, but he just obliviously presents. But we didn't hear too much about his brother. But his brother seemed to be cut from the. I know there's slight differences, but his brother seemed to be cut from the same cloth.
He died.
Died, but I mean, his attitude, the fact that I could understand Colin McKenzie going around completely oblivious.
Yeah.
But I can't understand his brother not warning him.
Yeah, so he was older, but yeah, he didn't seem to have much input into the cinematography or any of that sort of thing. I think it was just Colin was really involved in it, and Brooke was really Brooke, I think that was his name, was a farmer. He just followed his brother around, I think, and then he took off overseas and died in the war. And Gallipoli. I mean, oh my goodness, they brought in World War I again. He's brought in another war into his movie. It's like, wow, that's amazing. There's so much to unpack in this movie. There's so much going on, right?
Yeah, because I've watched this about 3 times over 2 days, and I'm like, still, I could go again.
Yeah, because it's still like these little bits, and it's like, oh yeah, no, yeah, wow, how did I miss that the first time? And
I think it stops being about proving it right or wrong. You're fascinated by this whole tale that's being spun. Do you know when somebody's spinning the yarn and you know it's a yarn, but you're just fascinated because you're dealing with a master storyteller?
Yeah.
A lot of con people, I think they're wasted because they have charisma. And I got sucked in my early years with these sort of folks. They spin a good yarn, but then they're pulling your chain, and then they're trying to screw you over. And I just think, God, you have such charisma. You can command a room. People listen to you. Why do you waste it conning people? there's something magical about storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And some people do it so much better than others.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on commitment, perseverance, focus.
And just having the vision in your head of what the story is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, they get arrested for showing smut, and then the entire male jury requested 37 viewings of them.
Can you believe it?
And you're just like, yeah.
Oh my God. 36, yeah, just sit there and watch that little bit over and over and over again. Sickos! All male jewelry, of course.
Yeah, but that was the joke. That was, and it was so deadpan, but like, yeah, okay, this is there's another hint that it's a joke.
Yep. But if you don't, if you close your eyes, you blink and you miss it, kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's telling you it's a joke. He's dropped enough little hints in, and the changes of music as well. The way he's used the music in this video is
absolutely
brilliant.
There's a soundtrack, apparently.
Is there?
I found online. Yeah, there's a soundtrack to it. So, interesting. I'll have to have a listen to it. But yeah, he did use sound very, very well. Yeah. Especially like when he found little things like in the shed, that sort of that sort of music, it's kind of like
that's where he threw in his little horror beats. So the the Peter Jackson horror beat music that he keeps, that gets thrown in there. And
brilliant.
Was it when they discovered the set? You throw a wee bit in as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So you don't forget it's a Peter Jackson movie if you're a fan. If you're familiar with his work, us as his familiar beat, and that's your hint as well.
Yep.
All is not 100% the truth.
No. We think it is.
Yeah. But I think we've talked about this. Like, it's so toned down. His sense of humor is so toned down in this. Like, bursting. Like, it would have just taken one scene, or else there was some really clever editing at the end of it.
Yeah, I'd say I'd probably say a bit of both, eh? Bit of editing and a bit of knuckling down and getting everything done properly, and the vision board and all that storyboard and all that he's probably invented and created to make sure that everything, which he usually does, which we can see he does with all his movies, is he makes it exactly just he contains himself really well.
Absolutely. And yeah, it just like, you're on a journey with this once again. I suppose the question is, if you just happen to be somebody that's not familiar with Peter Jackson, if you just happen to have stuck this on, would you get the same enjoyment as we do? Because we're looking at it from a particular lens.
With this movie, I would say, like you said before, niche market possibly, for film nerds, whatever. But I don't know if people would get it if they didn't really know much about Peter Jackson. I think they'd just be going, well, what was the point of making a mockumentary? It was a documentary. Was it a documentary? Was it for real? What was I watching? They might be a bit confused.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, they would have been really confused. Yeah, if this was their first foray into Peter Jackson's movies, they would have just gone, "Oh my God, what the hell did I just watch?" Yeah.
Yeah, then they can go watch Brain Dead after that.
Yeah. Yeah, move along. Yeah. But I think you're right. The fact that we are focusing on his brilliance, that we're able to see those little things that he does that I didn't actually know anything about until we started doing this filmography.
Yeah, because we're 5 movies in and you can see the patterns, but also the uniqueness of each one is just brilliant. It's just like, nobody can do that today. People have one idea and they beat it to death.
Yeah.
They have one good idea. Flipping, what's it? Saw 20's out now or something. And you're like, I can't. I managed 3 of them. And I'm quite proud
I
of
only
myself.
managed 2.
I managed the 3rd one because I thought it was closing off the story. And then I heard there's another one, and another one, and another one. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad I stopped. I couldn't have carried on.
20? Can you believe it?
Well, I think there's 10. I'm being a bit hyperbolic. So
no,
I
it
actually
is,
think
it is, I think. Or 15. I think it's 15.
there's
or
too many anyway. It's flipping ridiculous. But that was one idea that was clever and just got beat to death.
Yeah.
Same as the Final Destination movies.
Yes, exactly.
Cool idea, and they just
yeah,
and that's,
right.
That's modern. That's even like late 90s, early 2000s. Not too far away from this time.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that pattern, and then today's just dreadful. It's just
it's gotten a bit ridiculous. But it's good to find little gems like this guy.
Okay, that's why we do these little series and stuff and look back and look at things, because it opens up your mind to how things could be. And definitely, I'm appreciating storytelling more.
Yeah.
Everything I'm getting from these movies is tell a good story, keep it simple, keep it linear. You know, you can go as crazy as you want as long as you've got that bit to hold on to. Because this is a linear path, you know what I mean? It's not like it's going back and forward in time and
jumping. You're right.
It's a linear path, so you've actually still got something to hold on to.
Yeah, yeah. And it makes it easier to digest the movie as well.
Mm-hmm. What was it? I was thinking this might have been a joke at the time, because was it around about the 90s that biblical movies were the thing? Remember they're pumping them out like crazy?
Yeah, I think it was just before that time. Okay, so there was like Jesus Christ Superstar. So that was the musical, right?
Yeah.
But then I did a little bit of looking and digging around, and I found that there were quite a lot of Joseph and Moses movies coming out at that time.
Were like boom, 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 boom. They're like Western movies or superhero movies today. There's a whole period of time the flipping biblical movies were.
Yeah. So I think that's why he possibly picked the Holy Bible. That bit was awesome. We're going to where all the important messages of the Holy Bible. And it's like, well, okay, why did you pick that story? Interesting. Yeah, but yeah, I think it was a bit of a mock of all the other movies that were around at the time. I don't know the names of them, but I know that there were heaps of Moses and Joseph stories.
Yeah, it's not my thing, so I just don't. I can sort of watch one or two, but the whole like the 80s, like the whole satanic panic thing and that, I just and growing up where I grew up, where if you read the same book the wrong way, it was all right to friggin' knock people off. All right, okay, fine, well, I'm out. That put me out of the early age. Never believe what you want, whatever gets you through life, whatever your point, your moral compass, and never ever slag anybody off for doing, because we all need something in our lives.
Yeah.
And some people can't be self-reliant. You know, they need that external thing. Fair play. But at the same time, when it's rammed down your throat, it's like wokeism today, you know, that's this new religion is getting rammed down your throat, and environmentalism and stuff is just ridiculous. When it's being forced on someone else, I have no time for it. Doesn't matter what the message is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think this is a wee bit of a dig at that, because during that time, I think just coming out of the satanic panic era when he made this, and the dust was finally starting to settle of that absolute lunacy, which was worldwide. It wasn't just America. It originated in America, like the reimagining the Salem witch trials, but it was worldwide. Flipping kids were getting taken off their parents, and people getting locked up, and mobs descending people's houses and stuff. It was madness. And these movies were all coming out at the same time, fire and brimstone, and these preachers, and
wow,
scary times.
Yeah, absolutely. There were a lot of serial killers back then too. So I
think he was having a wee bit of a dig at that.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. The overacting was really well done, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
Exaggerated acting. It was just so, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have been, I don't know if that could have been pulled off unless it was a biblical scene, you know? So maybe he chose one of the most horrifying bits in the Bible, which was that, the Salome story.
I never read
John
it.
the
I don't remember
Baptist.
it, so...
Yeah, well, I had to do a little bit of digging because I remember it. I thought it was Queen of Sheba, but anyway, I don't know. Yeah, so I can see why he chose that story, because like from that exaggerated sort of acting sort of thing probably was, back in the era when they first started making movies. And
Oh yeah, because it was all physical acting. If you ever
it
watch
was.
one of the Charlie Chaplin documentaries, I think I've talked about this all the time. Brilliant when you see the
Yeah.
work that goes
No, I
into those
haven't.
sort of
I
movies.
do mean to have a
I
look
mean,
at that.
I keep meaning to flipping stick it on again because it's a brilliant documentary.
Yeah,
And
well, I think Peter Jackson pretty much loves Charlie Chaplin. Hey, he pays a lot of homage to him in a couple of videos.
he's one of the greats.
Yeah.
He's legitimately like, filmmaking wouldn't have had the impact it did without the likes of Charlie Chaplin.
No.
And it was actually the comedy actors, the Laurel and Hardy, the Abbott and Costello. It's those guys that made TV or film. Yep. If we didn't have them, we wouldn't, I mean, there'd be nothing for people to destroy now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, this all led in because the whole thing of Colin sneaking up the mountains to build his secret set, and
yeah,
Jackson and his crew like getting maps. Oh, it could be here, and actually seriously going about it.
Yeah, right. Chopping down the bush, finding steps, and
But the fact that he went to the detail building all that fake stuff,
wasn't that amazing?
There's no reason to do that. When you think of like how the story went, the fact that he went to the detail of making like all the props and that for them to discover, you're like, bloody hell, man, that's serious.
Yeah, it just goes to show how amazing his team are, and he is at making stuff so realistic.
And that was important to him, to make that look as if it was a discovery.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's a chariot even in the scrub. Yeah, my gosh.
And it looks amazing. As if it's been there, it's...
Yeah.
And you're
and I mean, I've got no idea where the heck he built that blimmin' place, but wow, it was amazing.
That's not CGI, no CGI back then.
Oop, no CGI back then, not like that.
That's all practical, or models, or a combination of both.
Yeah.
And film.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's
so realistic, eh? It's just like, wow, is there something hidden in the Lewis Pass? Is there a big building there? No, obviously not, but kind of look quite real. So
yeah, that's what I mean. He went to that level of detail. So basically, what it is, it's the set of Jerusalem. With the movie he wanted to make, and it's just like that. Just the tale. He could have told that without going to that level of detail, but the fact that he wanted you sucked in, because he keeps throwing these little mad bits to pull you out, and then he does this to rope you back in again.
Yeah,
and I think he partly wants you to guess throughout this. I don't think he wants you believing it's true.
Yeah, you could be right there. Yeah, it's just that whole scene. Just that whole entire scene is just amazing. Just everything that happens in that building is just like in Jerusalem is really, really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
And then you get the whole opening the crypt, because he hid the actual filming of Salome, and then
that's the bit where I was like, okay, you're opening up a crypt, but there's a cameraman inside the crypt.
But that's his team.
Yes, I know, but that was just kind of like, okay, yep, okay, this is definitely not real. It's not that I thought it was, but it was like, okay, there's his little. He did that on purpose.
Yeah, a little nudge and a wink. I think he's doing it all the way through this.
Yep.
But then he goes back to before things just go, because it's round about this point that he's let out of the traps and he just starts ramping everything up.
Yeah, he does.
He talks about how he financed this, and then we get introduced to Stan the Man.
Charlie Chaplin the second. Yeah.
We had a guy back here called Jeremy Beadle, and did a thing. Oh, it wasn't You've Been Framed. What was it? Beatles. It was like a skit where played practical jokes on people.
Oh.
Jeremy Beadle, he's obviously his own past, but it was a thing of the 80s. Beatles, like watch out, Beatles about. That was his catchphrase. And they played jokes and, people set their friends up.
Oh, right. Okay.
Basically say they'd be driving into a car park and then a lorry would come in and, when they went into the gym, for example, they would lift their car, move it, put a replacement with the same number plates, and then they'd have like a lorry smash into it and wind them up, And then it would be a whole skit, and then it'd just get ridiculous. Then he'd reveal himself, that it's a practical joke.
Wow, okay.
It was one of them things. So I was getting those sort of vibes from Stan the Man, and he's basically going to playing practical jokes on people. But
yeah, yes, that was
who
brilliant.
was it? Given it was just the wee girl on it. The had her as an early woman given the rating that she accidentally walked on set, and he just smacked her about the face.
Yeah,
because that happens in. And she was so stoic about it. Yeah, he smacks right. Give him a jolly good kick in the shins.
Yes, I know, right? That was hilarious. I love that bit.
And then,
that's how he just, that led on to him being, oh, okay, maybe hurting people or is what people want to see. So, yeah. But that was how he made his money, right?
The film is fund his project, and you're like, this is the whole bonkers thing on its own. But like I said, because it's a linear storyline, you believe it. You're like, that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Until he throws a pie in the Prime Minister's face. That was comical. That was really good. I liked that. Oh, and then this is the predates the Rodney King episode 60 years later. It was like police brutality. Oh my goodness. It's just insane.
That's the whole joke of this. Yeah, Colin McKenzie did it first.
I did everything first. He did everything first. Because New Zealanders do everything first. I think that's hilarious. It's like, well, we do actually. We were the first to vote, women to vote, and oh my God, I could go on, but I won't. And then we have Sir Peter Jackson.
And he has done all this. Let's be honest. Like we said, he's just way ahead of his time. Like people are still trying to catch up now with the sort of pale imitations of what he does.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that whole like Stan the Man being a Charlie Chaplin parody and the way he did it, and then the suitcase camera. I think that was a Cold War thing.
Right, I think so too.
I think that was a relic from the Cold, like suitcase cameras and stuff were like relics from the Cold War, and he brought that in. And then, like I said, that whole scene with the police just going bop bop. It's just so comical. Like I've seen that in loads of Charlie Chaplin movies. It's like
yes, exactly right.
Done so well.
Yep. No, so he's kind of like Charlie Chaplin, but not.
Yeah, but more obnoxious.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Like Charlie Chaplin's evil twin.
Yeah, his doppelganger. Yeah.
But yeah, then we'll go on to, and all through it as well. And this is another clever thing he did. He actually got people from the film industry to chip in all the way through.
earth did he do that? I mean, Sam Neill I can understand, because being a Kiwi, of course.
Yep. That or guy with the beard, I remember. I've seen him about in those documentaries. So remember him then. And then freaking Harvey Weinstein. God, that guy is honking.
I couldn't believe it.
He looks like a... Yeah. But then again, that was, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was blown away he was on there. I was just like, is it? It is. Oh my God.
But then
how the hell did he do that? What connections did Peter Jackson have? Oh my God.
Because back then, he was in charge of Miramax, him and his brother. Like, they were a powerhouse. And yeah, you don't just get him to take part in your little hobby documentary. So we're starting to see, because the question until we actually get to the trilogies, how did Peter Jackson get Lord of the Rings? We're seeing it here.
This is the start, I think.
Well, I think the start was with Heavenly Creatures.
Oh, yes, absolutely. But this is the start of his networking, I think.
Or the network. No, well, he'll have done the networking. You know what I mean? You don't begin with the network. The networking's been done because these are people coming on as a favor just for a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And you don't get people to do that unless you're known to them, they believe in you. You don't get people of that caliber, you know. And I hate using that term with Weinstein, but he was of that, you know what I mean? He was that high-ranking, powerful person.
He was. That's why I was just like blown away that he was on there. I was like, how? Was
Another dude whose name I keep forgetting, but I never liked him anyway.
Yeah, there are a couple of other guys, but they're famous people as well, American women filmmakers or whatever, but I don't recognise who they are, face value, but yeah.
Yeah, but that would be for the American audience. They would be, oh, yeah, that has to be legit. They're in it. You know, that's what they're doing. And you're like, yeah, that's my, this guy's got some connections. He's been, you know, he has been working his magic.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. And, you know, just even thinking to do that, to make this documentary seem so legit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you get confused. It's like, is this real? Is this not real? Is it real?
Because they wouldn't take part in a spoof. You know, these are serious people. They wouldn't take part in a spoof like this. And that's what I mean. He's giving you a nudge and a wink going, this is all fake. He's doing enough of that to give you that impression. But at the same time, there's so much of this like legitimization brought in that you're like,
yes,
am I watching? Is this? And then you're starting to look things up, and then he's using points in history. They're not like, because you know when somebody does absolutely crap research with something that you're taken out of it immediately, but he hasn't. Yep. He's fitted them in the time period. He's used pieces. He's used museums. He's actually got, you know, he loves making films. So the techno garble makes sense in that respect. That it's legit knowing what they're doing, and the way he's done the film, even with the like the red hue, just, you know, wasn't fully colored, but it was enough that you believe that he actually attempted it.
His props are just amazing. He's just
that's how he does it. That's how he it's his level. It's his attention to detail that you're watching is going, yeah, I know it's a mockumentary, but is it? Because you do suspend disbelief watching this, and you know, it's only 54 minutes.
I know, right? And wow.
But this is where
there was a lot in there for 54 minutes. There was wow. I was blown away.
And once again, when you think you can't ramp things up and keep it going, then he starts talking about, okay, he got a financier because they love biblical movies, so he could part ways with Stan the Man. And I think I was another dig at those sort of movies and all that period. Then the Great Depression happened, so he ties it into that bit of history, so everything's marrying up.
Yes.
First World War breaking out.
Yep.
That, you know, he manages to, you know, everything's sort of tying in.
It is, right?
And even when he, like, it's supposed to be a joke, but even you hear about Brooke, you're like, I mean, you're genuinely sad.
Yeah, I know, right? There is those couple of little elements in there that are a bit emotive, you know.
Yeah, so they bring you down. So you might be going hee, and then he brings you down. You're like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, why kill him off? Oh, really? And then, you know, those scenes from World War One, it was just like, wow, that's really cool how he managed to slip those in there.
Yeah, and it all fits with his filmmaking, you know, because here's the thing, you're not seeing like ridiculous levels of filmmaking. So it's not like it was made in 2023, jammed in with the 1920s. You're actually seeing that footage at the time, and you really can't tell from the technology.
No. You know, with the black and whites and with the black and white shots and the you know, the fade in, fade out black smudges and holes and stuff in the projectors and it's awesome.
Yeah,
it looks so authentic. It really does.
So he uses that to authenticate the film that he's generated fakely, and it's like, and then using the real stories sort of brings you emotionally down. So if you were starting to like, this is a joke, it's not a joke, it's not funny. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And Brick was the first one, and and you're like,
oh.
But that's what movies, you know what I mean? They are emotion, and if he's playing with your emotions and he doesn't, you know, it's so clever. It was the right time and it worked.
It really is.
So you're susceptible for the rest.
Yes. So you know, it's not just it's just not a deadpan, you know,
humor thing. It's being treated serious. So that bringing you down your emotions takes away from that. You're not jovial long, and then you're ready for the next bit, and then you're getting fed it again, and then.
Because it's a very fast-moving film, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
There's a lot of action going on the whole way through it, and then there's just these little moments where it just slows down or it drops you, you know, into a lull. It's just the slowness of it. Those moments are really precious, and I think he's just mapped it up beautifully.
Because if they weren't there, you'd be racing along, and then you wouldn't be invested, and you wouldn't be paying attention, or you wouldn't be you know, going along with the gag. So it's really cleverly done. But then it gets to the point, okay, so it's financier, I can't remember the guy's name, but he loses everything, gets bought over by the mob, essentially. His dads get bought over who want the film, and then because his money stopped, they went to Russia. So he manages to bring in the Cold War. That's why I'm saying the suitcase thing was from the Cold War, because it's like,
that was bonkers. He hasn't left anything out, has he?
No, he's used points of history and he's put them together. He's used world without telling you. You think this? He's just telling you what's going on in the world, and then how it could affect the filmmaker who's reaching out, and then
plotted out this whole story with the Russians, and it's just like, what? Where did that come from? Oh, because it's around that same period. Oh, okay. Wow.
And then they wanted the escalation to make it so he would run away because he's got two busy sets of people chasing him over a movie, and you're like, that happened. Like the mafia did get involved with filmmaking stuff. That they were involved with Hollywood. They were, you know, this is not unrealistic.
God, no, I know, right? He's just, well, that was a really good element he added in there. The Russians making one shot for them and 5 for his own movie. That was
5 for them. Or 1 for them, sorry, 5 for his own. Yeah, he was doing 5 shots. So 1 was for them, he didn't care about it, and the rest were for his.
So it goes to show how clever Colin actually was, right? As a filmmaker. Yeah. Brilliant.
But a character's only as clever as their creator. You know what I mean? That's...
Yeah, absolutely.
So... It's funny. And then it goes back, so we get the... we get to go back to the crypt scene, and it goes very Indiana Jones, and this is where we get... I was just expecting her to be shooting darts and, like, ball, you know... I was
Booby traps.
booby traps and all sorts.
Please.
I was actually disappointed that there weren't.
Yeah, but he reined it in, right? Because he could have
Oh,
just gone
you could just
Indiana
tell
Jones.
he the way he had everything set up, he was champing at the bit to have like
Yeah.
stones that turned and secret. You know what I mean? You know he would have done it, and somebody's like, no, you'll not for this one.
Yeah. We only want an hour documentary.
Yeah,
okay?
we don't want a 3 hour chasing through tunnels and you know you could just.
No.
Oh, there's Oliver.
Nice idea, but nah, not for this movie. Yeah, Indiana Jones. Oh my god.
Yeah, but this is that's it. It's just bordering on ridiculousness, but they still manage with the deadpan stuff to keep you on ground level, and you're like,
Yep.
fair enough.
Brilliant.
And then we actually did okay. So they found the actual, and this is the Forgotten Silver. La la la. You know, oh, Salome the movie is there, and they take it back to the museum and restore it, and then they have the screen. I wonder how they managed to interpose that in with the screening, because that looked authentic, as if he had invited. It could have been from another movie, but with the on pair and stuff, it looked as if he had invited like a couple hundred people to go and watch his fake movie that he restored. I wonder if he actually did that.
At the Embassy Theatre,
Mhm.
the biggest theatre in Wellington.
I think he did. Do you know what?
Yeah.
I think he did. I think he legit put this out, because there's not too much in terms of news, but I think he legit put this out in the circles that this was discovered, and I think he put it out as if Colin McKenzie was real, and here's a forgotten. We've managed to piece together this piece of forgotten movie.
I wouldn't be surprised. I seriously
wouldn't put it past him.
No, absolutely.
Sir Peter's that sort of shithead. You know what I mean? He's
yeah. Well, funnily, that theatre is the one he's done up. He paid to get that theatre done up because it was run to the ground, and he did it up a few years ago. Now it's absolutely spectacular.
Lovely.
But yeah, the film got a standing ovation. Did you notice that?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah. Which was really comical considering what the content was.
Yeah, but we didn't get the full movie.
No.
This was a documentary with clip scenes. As basically what he's leading us up to believe is that the full movie's out there, the full 3-hour movie, and that's what they sat through. We were only getting highlights.
Yes, I know.
Because if we had it just broke and then went through the full movie, I think we would have lost us. So the fact that he's already hinted the full movie is 3 hours long.
Do you think so? That it was a long 3-hour movie, or what? Yeah, or
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they actually watched, or did they watch an hour? You know what I mean?
Or was it the extras? Were they the extras that were in the
movie? And could have been
that were in the movie. That's initially what I thought. Was he's just got entrance into the embassy theatre, and he's got 1,500 people there that were on his set. That's what I was thinking.
That were part of the gag.
Yeah.
But he would have had. I don't think he legit had 1,500 people. You know what I mean? He showed like the clever.
Yeah.
stills.
No.
Because that will give a. You know what I mean? You can't have that many people involved and not give the game away.
Yeah. I'd love.
But I wouldn't put it past him either.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't put him past him to actually have attempted to.
Yeah. He probably did his own 3-hour movie, and he's made everyone sit there and watch it.
No, he couldn't have. No, because these were fake shots set up of the extras. He wouldn't have got people to play extras. This would have been his trusted team to set those shots up.
Yeah. Very intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah. Because don't forget that we're looking at this 20 odd years later.
Yes.
People believed us at the time.
They did.
And the more people you get involved, if you're trying to do a spoof or a yarn, the more people you get involved, the more chance it has of falling apart.
Yep.
So he would have kept this tight to his chest. It would have been only people he trusted, and plus using the camera shots and stuff, it would have been maybe 20 people redone again.
Possibly, yeah.
Which is clever in itself.
If that's what he did, that was very clever.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
imagine everybody from Wingnut Films involved, and
Yep.
they're a tight group. From what I've got from these 5 movies so far, is they are super tight. They are a machine,
They are machines.
and they trust
are.
them, and he trusts them. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm imagining. He's got all them. That's all them guys then involved. But I think he'd have had to have invited a few people. I think he's put something together legitimate
To
but
show them to
to
get
show
the reaction.
them to get the reaction. But
Yeah.
we didn't see it in the documentary. I wouldn't put it past him to have went to that level of detail.
Yeah.
And then
He probably put heavenly creatures on.
yeah,
and
they've done
everybody, I wouldn't be surprised. Oh no.
No, I think he's legit put enough of Salome together to fill them.
Yeah.
And brought
Yeah,
enough
which
people
we
in
didn't-
so they'd come out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know the
and we
whole
didn't get to see it.
and if you have people on board, like you get hype men and stuff that so if you get people doing all this, of course you're going to join in, you're going to feed in the atmosphere. And then
Yep.
the people he's primed have went out, said they've watched this, and then that piece of film's probably got lost. And we're only seeing a segment of it in the documentary.
Yeah.
I would not put it past him. He would have thought
Brilliant.
of this. He would have thought of the
Yep.
setup for the gag, how to get it out there.
Gosh. Brilliant.
And then we'll get he's saying he's trying to find out he disappeared off the face of the earth, and then they track down his widow who he met in Spain when the Spanish Civil War happened. And then they're saying who they wrote to and stuff and tried, and then finally got the final footage back, and you're like, God damn it. And then even his first wife, Dan, that whole story was another bring you down moment.
Oh, I know. How she died and
yeah, but then there was a way to write her out of it, that there was nobody basically left to ask.
So there was that love, he's carried this love for this Maybelle for all these years, and then he works so hard on the crew for 72 hours straight to get the movie finished.
Because he got the mob and the Russians chasing him.
That's right. So that was just kind of a real angle that was a real good one, real good angle. But then, the cost of that film was the cost of his love.
And then that's what broke him, made him leave and hide it all.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's the good. Think of that, just for a story.
Right. Just for a story.
Like that's a plot line on itself. That's a story on its own. That's a movie on its own. And
that's what I mean. There's just so many components to this 54-minute movie. It's just brilliant. It's just like bang, 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 bang the whole way through. And then, it's great.
And
that was quite sad, actually.
Yeah, and then we watch Salome and stuff about like the bit with the severed head and stuff. You're like, he can't help himself.
Yeah, he had to have the severed head. Of course he did.
And of course she's dancing around and kissing it and stuff, and just his usual thing. You're like,
oh, I know, right? Oh, the overacting was just amazing. It was cool. It was so corny and cheesy and awkward and really, really fantastic.
But it worked.
It worked, and it was so believable because back then they were, Rita Garbo and all those, Aubrey Hepburns, and even before then, So and it was quite nice to have that touching little moments in there. Yeah, that even though he was a hardcore, filmmaker, and that was his vision, he still found time to have a little bit of love in his life for a little bit of short time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, obviously meeting the nurse, the second wife, and who's acting as a narrator. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Even having her as a narrator for part of the story as well was so clever, because then we had her link to the bits.
That was good because it added a bit more authenticity to it as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there you go. That basically takes the end of it. You see him running to help a soldier, and that was the last scene that found that. And
even that, there's another found footage. My goodness, brilliant. Sad but brilliant. Yeah.
But he had the, he had to write it up because you couldn't have him like roaming about the place or living happily ever after because it wouldn't have worked.
No. No.
But yeah, it was the more I go through this, it's bloody brilliant. Like it shouldn't be. This should have been boring as hell, and it should have been weird, and it should have been like, nah.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm
I'm gonna watch it again.
I was a bit apprehensive. I'll not lie. When I read about this one, I was a bit apprehensive about doing it. I'm like, oh god, it's going to ruin things.
Yeah.
Because we've been on an upwards, we've been upward trajectory watching these movies. I was kind of worried about watching this one, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I was too. I really was.
And it's not my best because I know we're finishing off with Mortal Engines, and that movie is absolutely pants. Unless hopefully he makes another one between now and puts it out before we finish this series, because I couldn't even finish that movie. It was awful.
Oh gosh, no, I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, it's terrible. It's everything wrong with movie making today, so we'll see how that went. And that's even after The Hobbit. We've still got to go through The Hobbit, which is...
Oh no, not Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Oh god.
Well, Lord of the Rings is amazing. I'm just using this as an excuse to buy the box sets again.
Yeah, I know. I think I've got them, so that's okay. No, I do have them. Wow.
I need to pick them up again.
That's going to be brilliant. Yeah.
But yeah, God, what's next? Well, one more before we get the Frighteners. There's one between this and Frighteners, I think.
Oh no. No, that's after. That's 2018. Sorry. I was thinking of the World War II one. Huh?
No,
that's way later.
Is that not is that not Christopher Nolan? No, he did one as well, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Right.
He brought colour. He actually brought colour to it. To World War I or World War II. I can't remember. Anyway, that was 2018. I'm pretty sure that was him. I'm not sure.
I'm not going to IMDb yet. Website's crap.
But yep, there's some good ones coming up. Frighteners. Love
Filmography, let's go. Jack Brown Genius is next.
That's it. That's it.
And the other's another one. Genius. What's that one about? Oh, this looks daft.
Cool.
Where'd it go? What's his acting thing? No. Oh, he was in Words Will Gummidge. I don't know if he's that was a British TV show about a scarecrow.
They came over and filmed over here in Lower Hutt.
Yeah.
Weasel Gummidge. They had a episode where they filmed over here.
Words Will Gummidge Down Under.
Yeah. Yeah, they came here to Lower Hutt. It was filming around from where I lived, just around the corner from us. So we used to drive past and see them on the set. So, was Peter Jackson in?
Yeah, he acted. I think he did the voice.
Wow, interesting.
No, he played his speaking role as Jock. And he also worked on some of the special effects. That was a weird kid show.
It really was. I loved it.
Him and Aunt Sally was always messing him around and stuff. Real abusive relationship. It was like Joker and Harley Quinn, but Aunt Sally was Joker.
Yeah, no, that was nuts. I loved it. Oh God, I have to YouTube that one again because that's a good one.
But yeah, this was I'm glad I watched this. I don't feel like I've missed out. This is brilliant. I'm just seeing all his story beats, and now we're seeing the connections of how he got like the best film adaptation of all time, like the golden standard for trilogies and everything. You can rattle it all off, but now we're starting to see now, and this is only 5 movies in, so the first 3 are like, nah, normies wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. Heavenly Creatures, we start to see it. This, we're seeing that he's made the connections, that he knows people and people respect him and people will give him his time of day. So he's he's already built that level without being a nurse. That's the thing. He's still humble.
He is, isn't he? God. The whole way through he is anyway. He still is today.
Yeah. Yeah. So next we've got Jack Brown Genius. The brain of inventor Jack Brown is possessed by the soul of a medieval monk He thinks he knows the secret of how to fly.
I can just imagine.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Okay. So that's we're going to sci-fi, medieval, time travel, possession.
Excellent.
So we're going completely off rails now. So let's see where
Yep.
this one takes us. So we'll set that
Sounds
up.
like my type of movie.
Look, I'm really. Do you know what? It's good to cleanse the palate every so often as well. I know this is a horror channel, and I know I've retreated more from modern movies because it's just become that terrible that I've just retreated more in the horror bubble. But it's good to cleanse the palate. It's good to see other things, and it's good to see filmmaking. You know, it's good to see good storytelling. It doesn't matter what genre it is.
Yeah, I think it's important.
But we're definitely seeing the pattern that horror creators definitely have a higher standard than most because
Yeah.
we'll have to look at Sam Raimi sometime because you can see that level with him too. You know, he's another one that's up there. You know, there's so many. When we finish this series, I think we'll have to look at another one of these directors because they start off in the horror genre, they learn how to be inventive, and then
absolutely.
when they bring that across the mainstream, they blow people's minds.
Yep.
So it's
Excellent.
definitely given us an appreciation for what he can do. You know, taken from the horror genre and that sort of, I don't know, it's a mentality, isn't it? As a horror creator and a horror fan, there's definitely a certain mentality about creating something out of nothing, about that idea that budget isn't everything because you don't need, 9 times out of 10 you don't have it, so you got to get inventive.
Yep, and we can see that clearly with Peter Jackson. Absolutely.
So it'll be interesting to see how this one turns out, but
yeah,
as always, Dale, absolute pleasure to have you on. This is great. Great fun to chinwag and go through these, and we'll set up the next one. As always, folks, keep up to date with the channel. Tons of stuff coming up. We're busier than ever, non-stop as you do it. God, I haven't done one by myself in a while. I'll have to do it. I've been busy with other people, and tomorrow, Steve and I are on. We're doing From Beyond the Grave, which is another anthology series.
Excellent.
So I'm on with Steve tomorrow night. And as usual, you know, doing tons of, I can't even keep track of what I'm doing myself. It's all on the channel anyway. So do the typey clicky things. Until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.